What's up, y'all? This is our second live podcast, so welcome. This is the second time we've ever gone live, but I appreciate you guys coming on. Today we got a pretty special guest. We have Mike Flores on the podcast, and Mike, I got a word in from a guy named Philip in West Texas, and he said, "Hey, we got this legend, a running legend out here in West Texas. He ran every county in Texas. You need to talk to this guy." So here he is. What's up, Mike?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Great. Thank you for inviting me on. This is an honor. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that running legend. I'm not sure who that is, but thank you.
Well, Philip talked highly of you, so I'm pretty excited to talk to you and get to know you a little bit more. I wanted to know, Mike, a little bit about yourself. If you could share that kind of, I don't know, what do you do, and just tell us a little bit about your life.
Okay. I've been living in Amarillo for the past 32 years from West Texas, a little town called Stratford, and have just, I guess, explored Texas off and on over the last few decades. Went to Texas A&M undergrad, UT graduate school, and kind of meandered through college. Ended up as an MD doing emergency room work around the Panhandle, and now I'm cut back to a regular job with not so many hours and demands, and I'm doing urgent care in Amarillo. That's kind of
Wow. You stay pretty busy because I know with the EMS people they have like, I think it's like 24 48 hour shifts or something like that. Is that right?
it can be. And the smaller emergency rooms will sometimes have 40 or 28, 24-hour shifts, and that makes it hard to run. It cuts into your training time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I bet it's hard to work, run, and then even have your own personal time to where you're not running.
Oh,
I bet
true.
that's tough, man. But you've managed to somehow run every county in Texas, and I really, man, just tell me how the journey even started. Like, how did this journey of, hey, let's go run every county in Texas? How did that start?
It began probably 12 years ago. I was in a real blah mood, not sure if I was ever going to train seriously again. And then some friends got a hold of me and talked me into doing some half marathons, and that was about 2011, 2012. Got back into fairly decent shape, and then began to seek out destination races. And the first stop on that was some of the bigger half marathons around Texas. And then we did the rock and roll coast to coast with that. I bought the tour pass in 2013 and ran every one of them.
Yeah.
From
So,
there, head, I mean,
go
from
ahead.
there, up with some guys in the mainly marathons. It was Las Cruces ago, and now they're based in Minnesota. And the mainly marathons bunch run 7 half marathons in 7 states in 7 days, and that just lit a fire. They also keep totals, how many miles they've run, how many states they've run, how many races they've run, and I enjoy the data. So I started collecting numbers and totaling the different uh, the different data, and it just got me going. Joining with them, I ran a half marathon in all 50 states, finishing in January of 2016. I'm sorry, July of 2016 in Alaska, and then we did a new goal. So my next one was all 7 continents. I have not done that. I'm still in process, but I hooked up with Marathon Tours and Travels out of Boston, and we ran Dublin, Paris, Buenos Aires, Bermuda, Boston, and then went to Antarctica in 2019. And so, same thing. I planning to go worldwide, but then COVID hit, so that cut into travel quite a bit. A buddy of mine from college had been talking about the 254 Club for a while, and I was just kind of saying, yeah, that's great. I'm going to run around the world. And then we got to the point where we couldn't, leave our own backyard, basically. So I started looking at the 254 Club. It's been out for about 10 years. A lady named Mary Kaplan down near Austin was the first to do it. She's a retired Air Force nurse and a spark plug. She's like 5 foot nothing, and she's still running probably 40 miles a week, 86 years old. So I got in touch with her and just was asking, what are the rules or the guidelines? She was wise enough to say that we could decide our own distance for our own event per county, and that was good for me. Some guys have chosen to run an organized race in every county in Texas. Some have chosen to run a 5K. One man's trying to find a half marathon in every county. That's tough to do because some of the tiny counties don't have big runs. So
Yeah, we actually I met a guy who comes to my races, but he has a goal to run every race and or run a race in every single county in Texas. And
yes.
he shared with me how a lot of them, especially out west and on that kind of bare part of Texas, it's very difficult to find a race out there. In some of these counties that have like little to no population. He said, I think a guy told me though that there was one lady in that group that did manage to do a race in every county, but I guess people have discontinued races and things, especially since COVID. So he's still going for it. He hasn't completed the goal yet. But so I guess you decided on that you were just gonna do a run in every county. Is that right?
Right, a 5K workout in every
Okay.
county. And that's a little easier. I don't have to wait for the time of year or the organization per county. I would go find an area, fly to Corpus Christi, and go run 12 counties over the course of 4 days, that kind of thing, and just explore the area. Texas has such amazing variety. I watch that, and it's still every time I go, it just still amazes me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the unique things that I really like about Texas is the fact that as you go across the entire landscape of Texas, it's every single climate you can think of within the United States in a way.
Oh,
Out east you got your pines, and out west you got your tumbleweeds. So
for sure. Oh, yeah.
um, it's very unique. I mean, I like the geography of Texas, and I'm a geography kind of guy. But
Okay.
I'm really interested in when you would go run in these counties, would you pick like a specific place you would go run because of the way it looked, or did you just like run on a random road? Did you have like a destination in mind when you went to these counties?
I would pick a target. Initially, I was looking for towns on county lines. Excuse me. O'Donnell, Texas, up here in the Panhandle, is where Dan Blocker grew up. Hoss Cartwright from the old Bonanza TV show.
Yeah.
O'Donnell's on the county line between Boone County and Terry County. And so I ran two counties, one parking spot, 5K south, 5K north, and there's not a lot of towns I could do that. So sometimes I would pick out a town or a park or a landmark and go run around there. In your part of the country, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, Texas, parked by that and ran around, got the pictures and everything. One week when I was doing Northeast Texas, I was picking towns that sounded like they would be someplace else. Paris, Pittsburgh, Bogota, Boston, Mount Pleasant, and just run the towns. It sounded like they should be in a different state.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. So I've lived in two different counties in Texas, and I'm curious if you remember where you ran in these two counties. I was gonna quiz you on this, but
Okay.
I grew up in Cook County. Where'd you do you remember where you ran in Cook County?
What's the big town in Cook County?
Gainesville, Gainesville, Texas. I'm curious if
I
you ran there.
I did, and I'm trying to let me look because it wasn't Gainesville.
Yep. There's a couple smaller towns outside of that city, and it's I mean it's pretty country out there. It's rolling
Oh,
hills and no trees, so
I
or
believe
little
that
to
was
no trees. So
Lines. That was oh, let me see, north of Denton.
yep. Yeah, I was curious where you ran out there because personally, I got
Right.
a lot of pretty spots tucked away in that part of the county, and a lot of back pretty back roads back in there. And I've honestly noticed that some of the most beautiful places to run in Texas are on some back county gravel roads.
Oh, that's true.
I've
Yes.
had some of the best running doing some on that kind of terrain in Texas. So,
Cook County, looking back, I ran in Munster. There was a
oh,
15K Munster that I ran back when I was in college, probably
yep,
89.
yep. Yeah, they still got a race going on in Munster that they do. I forgot what it's called, but
It's a
yeah,
big one. Very
Munster's a
hill,
cool.
rolling hills.
Yeah, Munster's a cool little town. It's a little German town, and they got that race they do once a year out there. Super hilly, super hilly.
Yes. Yes,
But
that's it.
yeah, I was curious where you're in, but that's a good place to choose, and in Cook County. And my second question for you, or county, is I'm currently living in Gregg County, which is Longview, Texas. And where do you remember where about you ran out here in Longview, Texas,
I ran
or
in
not
Longview.
Longview, but Gregg?
I was staying in a hotel, and there was a little trail quarter mile away. So I just ran from the hotel to the trail and up and down along the side of a creek. I gosh, I can't recall the name of it right now.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about. I run that trail pretty consistently. So, yep, I know what you're talking about.
There were
So,
some Strava segments out there, some measured segments, and so I had a few little um, areas where they kept times for me. It always makes it fun.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's really neat, man. That's really neat to hear that you took on the challenge of you went from states to trying to do continents to doing counties, and then you would fly to these counties and do different ones, even some all at one time
Right.
in a way. And so how'd you keep track of the counties you were doing? Did you have like a map where you would like marker it out or what?
I'd
Is
carry.
that it right there?
Yeah, this is Oklahoma. I'd carry a map with of Texas, and I had a big map at home that I would keep track on. Just hatch marks across the map as I would go by. The one here behind me, the second pass through. I'm going to go do it all again as time goes by.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's neat, man. I was wondering how you keep track of it, but that's really cool. So whenever you were marking through them, did you ever feel like, oh man, this is gonna take a long time, or were you just present in the moment and just excited about doing each county?
It was
What was your feelings towards it?
it was excitement in the moment. That's a good way to put it. And when I was in Central Texas, it was late March, early April, so it's bluebonnet season, and I had a chance to see some of the most beautiful scenery, beautiful flowers, wildflowers, and just enjoy where I was. Go run a county or two or three, and then have some amazing barbecue in Central Texas and experience where I was. And so, yeah, I'm chasing goals, but also get a chance to just be happy with where I was.
Yeah. It sounds like you kind of just took a bunch of mini vacations around Texas. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's looking. When I first pulled the map out, it's like anybody. I had Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. For me, Lubbock and Amarillo, but I'd never run El Paso. I'd never run Abilene. So I had to go find, had to go pick those up.
Yeah. Yeah, so whenever you finished all of these counties, how did it feel? Were you like sad that you weren't going to be chasing them anymore, or were you kind of,
Uh,
I don't know.
Frankly, by then I was planning on round two. The
Yeah.
Miss Kaplan, who thought of the 254 Club, is on round two, and she's very close to finishing. Guess I'm just trailing behind her. Gonna do some more
Yeah.
with with
That's pretty neat.
with the caveat. I talked to her and asked her how many people had finished all the counties in Texas, and she said, "Oh, 5 or 6, maybe 8." And I'm going, I don't want to be sixth or seventh or ninth. I want to find a challenge where I can be the number one. So, flashback to Texas history, I looked up the old Republic of Texas, the big map that extends up through 5 states into southern Wyoming, and
Yep.
thought I'll just go run all of those counties too. And living in the Panhandle gives me a big advantage because we're so close to New Mexico and Kansas and Colorado that it was just a short drive for most of them. Go run southwestern Kansas or run central Colorado or eastern New Mexico. There are 325 counties of what used to be Republic of Texas, and I covered all of those except one. I saved Calhoun County, Texas, for last. That was my final spot. I'm gonna flash your book up here.
Okay.
50,
Let's see it.
a distant cousin wrote a book. Our family, according to the story, landed in on the Texas coast in 1725. So I saved Fort Lavaca, Calhoun County, for last, thinking if that's where he landed 198 years ago, that's where I want to finish in 2023. And so
Yeah.
I finished up in Indianola. It's a ghost town now. 270
Yeah.
years ago was one of the two big ports on the Gulf Coast, New Orleans and Indianola, and now one is a huge city and one's a ghost town. But I saved Indianola for last. Ran right by where the old landing piers used to be all those centuries ago.
Yeah. That's really neat, man. So you got this book that's your family history, and it goes back to the what 1700s. Is that what it said?
1725, yes, sir.
Man, and could you tell me a little bit about that? Like, tell me a little bit about your that book and how that came about, and a little bit about the history of it, because that's interesting. Not, I, it's, I feel like it's very rare for someone to know their full family history to that extent when it comes to them coming to America.
It is.
Let's talk. Let's go in detail on that. Tell me a little bit about it.
It was written by a distant cousin that lived down in the Waco area back in 1963, and it goes up through my generation. We had 6 kids in my family, but when he wrote the book, only 4 of the 6 had been born. And so I took that and just read back through where our family had lived. And there's a lot of connection with Nacogdoches and Natchitoches, Louisiana, in different areas. So I would chase out landmarks and historical areas in those parts of the state and run around where maybe my ancestors had been 200 years ago.
Yeah.
It came out, I like to say, it came out before Roots. So this was our version of Roots 15, 16 years before that came out in the mid 70s. And it's just dumb luck. I had nothing to do with it. It just happened that I knew that book was out there, so I would go through and review it and use that as motivation for different targets around the state.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really neat, man. I think that's pretty cool. It's like a little treasure map in a way.
Oh, it
Um,
is.
yeah, to go back and reflect. So, yeah, man, that's really neat. So, cool. Well, I wanted to ask you about these counties, man. What I want to know, couple different things because you're pretty experienced with all the counties now that you've been to them. What was the worst county that you did? What was the worst county that you ran in?
It's really kind of an area. I've seen enough sand and sand dunes and hot, dry wind to last me a lifetime. and that's the Permian Basin, Andrews, County, Reagan County. Tons of oil money, great people, but just hot, dry. The sand blows across like snow drifts up here, sand drifts down, and that's it's fun. It's fun to visit, but there's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pull up a picture. Here we go.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that's you all. Yep, that's it.
the Permian Basin. So in the Permian Basin is the Guadalupe Peak. Did you go to the Guadalupe Peak?
I've been to the base.
Okay.
That was a humbling experience. I had run a pretty hard race the day before, and then a couple of extra counties for round two, and thought, oh, I can just jump out there and climb this at 11 o'clock in the morning on July 5th. Big mistake. It was so hot. I ran out of gas. I got to about 7,000 feet. That was about 3.5 miles round trip. And it's 16 to build up. So I decided to play smart and come back down and try again when I had better energy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure whenever you chose that county, I bet you were pretty excited to go run up Guadalupe Peak, or at least run on it at least. So,
The first time I ran the county, I came in from the west side, the back side, and I forget the little town. Oh gosh, I can look it up, but I don't want to bother. I don't want to bore you. But I came in from the west side and took pictures of the skyline. I say skyline, but the outline of Guadalupe Creek and El Capitan off to my east at the time. Oh, I had never raced in El Paso or run in El Paso back then, so I went and at El Paso County um, and then went back later in December and began a race that crossed over into Juarez. And you had to carry your driver's license and passport to get back into the USA once you finished the race.
oh wow. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Man, imagine if somebody had dropped it though while they were running.
it would have been scary.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's neat, man. Yeah, I can really see that Permian Basin area not being the most beautiful area. I don't know. I guess it just depends on where you grow up. I'm gonna pull up a picture here. This is obviously some oil field roads and stuff, but this is probably pretty accurate to what it looked like. We'll show the live viewers here that are watching. We're gonna show them kind of. I
Okay.
don't know if this is accurate or not. You tell me, but
Oh yeah, Martin County.
he could name the county by looking at the picture.
I don't know if it's the county, but it looks like Stanton, Texas, Martin County.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that's it. And so,
Side story: I ran in Stanton the first time I did Martin County. The second time I came through, I found a town called Tarzan. So I drove into Tarzan and parked at the P&J store, Tarzan and Jane, and then ran a 5K around Martin County out there for round two.
yeah,
Just random targets.
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I feel like there's so much to see though. Just with how big our state is and all of the ghost towns that I'm sure there are out there, especially in the western side of the United States. But um, what out of all the counties you ran, um, what was the most beautiful county or region, I should say, of Texas?
I like the land just west of the hill country. Bandera County was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yep.
River runs through. McCulloch County, around Brady, San Saba. It's more than the central part of the state. Rolling Green Hills, and there'd be a mixture of both cactus and bluebonnets in the same park, and that doesn't happen so much. You get further east and bluebonnets, and out where we are more cactus. And I like that combination where you see all the Texas classics.
Yeah. The hill country is one of my favorite spots in the state of Texas because it's such a small area. I don't even know how it was formed. I I wonder how it was formed, but it's like this beautiful little sliver inside Texas. And if you look at a map of the United States, or really just a map of Texas, like a geographical topo map,
Yes.
you can see that little rip. It's almost like a little scar in
Yeah.
Texas. What do you have any opinions or thoughts of what formed the hill country like that?
I think they call it the Llano uplift, I believe, and I'm not sure what kind of pressure it was that formed it, but it caused that one area to rise, and it's about or I-35 is the divider. I-35 in the east is prairie, and right through Waco, Austin, if you go west, you go up onto the hill country for an hour or so of time, and there's hills and there's trees and there's hidden areas and canyons. You're right; it's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots to put on a race. We got two races that we actually do out there. One in October, one in January. But man, it's one of my favorite areas in Texas, and I would live there if I could. I would go out and I'd probably try to live out there
what are
because
the races?
one, it'd be great training for ultra running,
Oh,
for trail and ultra running. But two, man, it's I don't know. In my opinion, it's one of the most pretty areas in the entire state of Texas.
I,
But
I would agree. Yes.
yeah, but I guess it just depends on your taste, though. I know, living up in North Texas, up in Cook County, it was hills with a couple trees here and there. And growing up, that's just what I knew. So when I came out to the East Texas, South Arkansas area, I was like amazed with how beautiful the trees were because there's these great big pine trees and they're tall and they stay green year round.
Right.
And to me, that was very pretty. But after living around it a couple years, I find North Texas very pretty because there's not a lot of trees. You can actually see the sunset, and it's it's beautiful. You can see out in the distance. So
North
I
Texas,
think it just depends.
like
Go
the
ahead.
like the Panhandle area, in North Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Yep.
not a lot of trees, but we have great sunrises and sunsets.
Yep. Yep. You miss them when you got all the tall trees around you. So it just depends on your. I think it depends on where you grow up, or where you live, and that's why part of me does not want to live in a beautiful vacation mountain area, because I feel like if I lived in beauty, if I ever left and went to vacation somewhere else, I feel like I wouldn't cherish it as much because I already live in the beautiful area. I don't know what you think about that, but
There's,
that's kind of my consensus.
but then there's a real austere beauty with areas that have the rolling green hills and very few trees. I have a sister in western Kansas and went to visit. It amazed me because it's such beautiful farmland, very rich soil, and the people up there are great too.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, the people add to it quite a bit.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But one of the going back to the counties, one of the thing I really wanted to ask you about and see if you had was on your journey of running every county in Texas. Um, what would you say was one of your most memorable moments? And when I say that, I mean something that like something unexpected happened. You had an encounter with a person trying to rob you or something. I don't know. Have you had any like crazy, wild, memorable encounters or experiences while running every single county in Texas?
Yes, I have. Let me break the answer up into two different parts, though.
Okay.
With the current state of the border, I was really worried about running down there. And so I'd fly to Corpus Christi and rent a car. I would drive the car into the county and just park at the police station because I figured that would probably be the best place to not get a rental car stolen when I was running around the counties. Never had a bit of trouble in those counties. It worked out great. The ones that got no people was in trouble, but dogs. Dogs would come after me.
Mm.
This is bizarre. Target. and I was in Newton County, far southeastern Texas, in Deweyville. Deweyville is not even a town; it's a air quotes census designated place. It's the only community of note in the county. So I'm running around Deweyville, and these dogs decide to come chew my leg off. They didn't. I stopped and I faced them and said, "Okay, do what my friend said. Y'all go home." And they did.
Yep.
I got lucky.
That's the best way to deal with dogs is to stop,
Oh yeah,
stop, look at them,
face them.
and say and yell at them something.
Right,
That's the best way to do it. Because if you keep running, they're gonna chase you and bite your dang leg or something.
right. They went home, and I rounded the corner, and there was a bridge into Louisiana. I ran to Louisiana on that particular county, and then came back. Just hit two states in one day because it was there. It was a short bridge, maybe a quarter mile. Just little things, little interesting things. I picked Deweyville because our high school girls basketball team beat them in the state championship in 1972. So random. I'd been hearing the name Deweyville for 50 years. Went and ran Deweyville. One other time I was in Terrell County, and I'm running down a road, 97 degrees, sun's blazing, and about a block up, I saw a dog racing straight, perpendicular to me, but toward the road where I was going to be, and he was coming after me, behind the pickup. So this wolfhound comes out about 3.5 feet tall, and he got close enough that I was smacking his face, saying, "No, go away, go home." And he said, "I don't want to." He was talking to me, but that kind of scared me. That made my heart pitter patter a bit. He could have bitten me. He didn't. But I got close enough I could smack his nose a couple of times and back him up. And that still kind of makes my heart race thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed. So I when I go run on these back roads and stuff, one of the big things that I do not like are the dogs, man. Because I'll be running and it's the most beautiful route. I'm like, this route's great. I want to run this thing every day. I'm running it, and then these dang dogs come out, which, I mean, it is out in the country. People want to let their dogs roam. They can, but it does suck to be able to not be able to access a road that's public and open and not be able to access via bike or running. It does suck.
Agreed.
But because those areas are very pretty, and so, but there's not much you can do about it except for just try to defend yourself. And one thing I've learned is once I go down a road where there's a dog that comes at me, I never go back.
Right.
So that's just what I've done. So, but Philip Sebastiani, the guy who reached out to me about you, Mike, he came on the podcast. He's watching right now, I believe. He said, Mike Flores is a legend. He said you're a legend, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.
Philip said that. So how do you know Philip Sebastiani? Can you tell me a little bit about how y'all two met?
I met him in Palador Canyon. I was out running with some friends one day, about 2.5 miles behind Philip and his crew. They were flying through.
Yep.
And had a chance to watch him run at the Palador Ultra, Palador 50, just to watch him float across the ground out there, making it look easy. I ran the 25K, so it was much easier.
Yeah, Philip's a fast guy. Whenever you say you saw him flying by, that doesn't surprise me.
Right, makes it look easy. These young guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, Philip. Thanks for the comment there.
Thanks for the shout out too. Thanks, Philip.
But so Mike, I mean, you've ran every county in Texas, and you got all these goals. What's next on the list, on the bucket list? What's next? What do you have going on for some of the future things you've done? I mean, you've done. What, are you gonna do every county in the United States, or
that's on the list. There's an event called the Great American Relay, sponsored by a group out of Philadelphia. And for the first 2 years, they ran from Ground Zero in New York City to Santa Monica Pier in LA. The third year, 2022, they ran from LA to New York, and I became good friends with Ben Porcello. He's the race director. At the end of 2021, he said, kind of offhand, "You didn't run all the states you played for." And so I'm sitting in LA going, "Okay, accepted. Let's do this." And so September 2022, I flew out to Santa Monica and ran the first 4 or 5 legs out there, and then caught him at the Arizona New Mexico border, New Mexico Texas border, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and ran 18 states plus DC, but hit every state along that relay. Probably a total of I think it was 170 miles over 33 different legs and 6 weeks, but got to see all across the middle portion of America, from LA through. We followed Route 66 up to Tulsa and Baxter Springs, Kansas, and it cut across to Indianapolis, and just got to go experience small town America. One
Yeah.
little side note on on that relay, there were 3 different times and I got to run 3 states in one day, and just picking the legs where I could run Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, all in one day, 3 different legs, and then ran Ohio, Virginia, Pennsylvania in one day, then Virginia, DC, and Maryland in one day, and just experience the world out there. That was a kick. I mean,
Yeah, I bet.
people can run into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's given me a different view of America because um, I'm going to lapse a little bit. I'm not going to talk red blue, but small town versus big city. There's small town people in Western New York that would cuss the current administration about, and we're bartenders and we're sharing drinks and discussing politics and agreeing almost on 80% of what we talk about. We live 2,000 miles apart, which is cool. There's neat people everywhere, and it can be California, it can be Illinois, it can be Pennsylvania. They're just good folks out there. I think most people are good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's always good news to hear. So, because it can seem otherwise with how the media frames things and all that, but because all you hear is about the bad stuff usually, because that's what gets the most clicks.
That's
But
what gets them to watch. Yes.
yep. But
A little
yeah, it's
so if you guys are paying attention now to the Texas border, Eagle Pass is getting a lot of press, and there's a
yep.
little place called Shelby Park. Back in it was March of 2022, I went to Eagle Pass and ran Shelby Park. I have a daughter named Shelby, and I'm running around the corner looking at the razor wire and the trucks that were backed up as a border wall 2 years ago. Rounded the corner on a little sand road. There's Border Patrol with about 15 guys sitting on the ground with their hands zip tied behind them, and I'm running through with no ID other than my iPhone, going, "Oh crap!" I did a U-turn and came back up. You want me? Come get me. But I promised I would here. And it was
Wow.
in that park, and it's still got to be fresh right now.
Yeah, that's quite an encounter to be running, and then you pull up on I guess the border patrol or whoever it was, and
The
a bunch of guys with their hands behind their backs.
razor wire along the border, and people would come up, and there would be boating vests thrown over the wire, and then wet clothes and jeans. And on the Texas side, there would be piles of wet clothes and wet tennis shoes and empty shopping bags, where they apparently swam across, walked across through the wet clothes, put on dry clothes, and came into the USA. And that's all 2 years ago. That's early
Wow.
22, and it was an eye
Yeah.
opener.
Yeah. I bet right now if everything that was happening right now went on then, I bet you would have a hard time running all those counties along the border there.
It would be much more difficult.
Yeah.
There again, I could
Yep.
park at the police station and probably stay away from the river, stay away from the Rio Grande. That's what I think I would do.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, it's such a unique thing to be able to do what you've done, and honestly, I've taken it as an inspiration to make that a goal for me one day. It'd be because I'm a proud Texan man. I'm one of those guys. We got Texas flags up at our races, and I love Texas, so I think that'd be something really neat to do and to check out, everything around the state. And one thing that really catches my eye are the ghost towns, man. Those things seem really neat to me. I don't know what they're like because I never really been in one. But the ghost towns where there's nobody and it's just old wooden buildings from like the 18,
Yes,
maybe early 1900s. I feel like that would be really neat. Did you get to run through anything like that?
I did. There's a little town called Kent, Texas, and I want to say that it's Hudspeth County, right on I-10, and all that's left is there's a empty gas station and an old burned out or worn fallen down Kent school building. So I ran from the school building to the gas station and around and just toured because there was nobody there, but I-10 running right through the middle of it. The town in Calhoun County, Indianola, they think it's a ghost town, but there was a little store and there were 4 or 5 houses, but nothing like it was 250 years ago.
Yeah, 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 man. I bet it was pretty wild running through an area like that, just like an old time capsule, just sitting there,
It is.
just just rotting away. And I'm surprised the forces ain't done more damage. Like I'm surprised that some of that stuff's still standing. The fact that it's been there for so long,
Oh,
you know.
3 foot rock walls. They were built to last, and they're still there.
Oh wow,
The roofs have fallen in, but they're built solid.
that's pretty neat, man. Yeah, I want to go check that out. You know what would be really cool, Mike, is if someone put a race on at a ghost town. Do you know of anything like that?
Oh, it can happen. I've had some friends
Yeah,
mention that too.
yeah. Um, you know what? I mean, I can do it. I mean, we do races, so I like that idea, man. That'd be one heck of a race. Invite everybody out to the middle of nowhere, and we just run through a ghost town, run around the buildings, run out in the wide open. That'd be really neat, man.
Oh, Caitlin
Caitlin
Keith
said,
sounds fun. There we go.
"Yeah." Caitlin
Great.
Keys said that sounds fun.
I agree. Have you heard of Loving County?
I have not. Tell me about it.
The least populous county in all of America, even less than the counties in Alaska. And it's
Wow.
in the middle of nowhere. We went and ran a race in Mentone, the county seat of Loving County, and had 25 people show up. But they came in basically more than a ghost town, but not a lot more. Um, they advertised 50 for the entire county and 10 for the city of the town of Mentone. And so it was
Wow.
so that was the closest I've actually been to ghost town.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, these little towns, man, where there's very little population. They're just kind of fascinating to me, man. It's like these people that are just kind of they're living away from the rest of the world in their own little pocket.
This is true. If if I may, I took a bunch of pictures running around Texas and I began to focus on the smallest towns out there, the smallest counties, just because there were such picturesque areas with all the great space around. There was a little building in a town, not even a town, a city called Sarita. It's down south of Corpus, south of Kingsville, and just took a picture of what looked like it could have been in a funeral store or a mall or a beer joint. And that picture, it gave me the inspiration to just go for these 20 places in Texas and record that. Number one, forgive me, this is not a sales pitch, but I do want to tell you guys, I put together a calendar of these little tiny towns because there's such an appeal with that the building I'm talking about in Sarita, this little building, I'm thinking, could that have been a general store? Could it have been a beer joint? Was it a car repair place, a grocery store? So I went looking for those little
Wow.
around the state. and thought, use paper calendars, build one this year, show people these pictures and spread the word some.
So is that your calendar that you made?
Right. And I made some extra
Wow.
copies. I have quite a few. I had thought about making it like a business or a fundraiser, but it's way too late. All these things. I'm trying to raise money for my warriors. But these, I've, I've sold a few, and I just sold a bunch, but I'm way too late behind. So I wanted to share that, and I'm not selling them. I'll send them out. If you guys want one, you're welcome to it. But I'm such a big fan of small town Texas. I wanted to share those.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that you have a fascination with those little tiny towns, man. And that picture. So for the people that are listening on the podcast, he has a calendar and he just shows a picture, one of the pictures of a very old building. It looks like it's from the 1800s.
Yes,
Um, and Philip, he said in the chat, he said you should start he had mentioned the Texas Outlaw Ghost series.
yes,
And
saw that.
Lester's a guy that comes to a lot of our races. I just saw him not too long. He said that would be a very neat adventure. And then Caitlin said less people to see how slow I'm going to be this year. I think it's
Caitlin,
a good idea, man. Doing like a
you a 5 minute mile is just as far as a 12-minute mile. So it doesn't matter what the pace is. It matters that you finish.
Yep. I definitely agree with that. I think the distance says more than how fast. So depending on how fast you are. I mean, if you're fast, all right, you know,
Oh, you do
there's some
what you
merit.
can.
There's some merit to that. So, but that's really neat, man. I'm gonna think about that, man. I don't know what I would call it. I like that Texas Outlaw Ghost series. That'd be cool to do like we we do like a little thing to where you go to a town and then you can run all the races and yeah, that'd be really neat, man. I'm gonna look into that. That would be so cool.
Be in the loop on that because that would be fun. I'd be happy to help out with it too. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would have to do it. We would have to start it at like noon because people wouldn't be able to sleep anywhere nearby. So people would have to drive in the day of. So, but hey, and the good thing is too, no permits required because there's not really anybody managing that area really. I mean, maybe one guy, but you know, so wouldn't really need any permits.
I bet
So,
that's right too. In Loving County, the Jones family is that's the big family that lives there. Mr. Jones is the JP. Mrs. Jones is the city clerk, county clerk, district clerk. And so you get a hold of the Jones family and you have your permit. And we ran on the road right by their house and they let us use their house for awards. And it was nice.
yeah, that is cool. Caitlin commented, "Tiny towns, big egos." That's funny. But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like it'd be super easy. You just talk to one person, get verbal approval, and there you go.
You bet.
So I like this
Sometimes have
idea.
their police car come lead you if you need it.
An old '80s car comes up with some lights on top. That's funny.
Interesting point. Even those tiny little counties, if it's a county seat, they'll have new modern cars. They tend to get pretty good facilities. Their county courthouses, their police stations are fairly new. A lot of state of the art cars and schools, even in the tiny towns.
Yeah, yeah. I was in Real County, over in the Hill Country, Real County.
Yes.
I was over there not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and yeah, they have super nice school and everything, and very nice police cars. But I was talking with the ranch guy that I was working with, and he said that their EMS is just this old guy that's like in his 70s, and all their equipment's hasn't been updated since the 90s. And that was their ambulance there in Real County. That was all they had. So,
And sometimes
um,
those small towns, they just want to get you up and go. They scoop and go, they say, take you to a big town and get you seen sooner.
yeah, yeah. They're just there to get you through. So, but yeah, man, I like this idea. Everyone in the comments is very excited about that idea. So I think I might look into it. That would be pretty neat. So, but yeah, man. Well, it's been cool to hear your some of your story and anything. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about on the podcast that I haven't touched on yet?
Oh, not really. I guess a lot of the history of Texas. You think about the Alamo and Goliad and some of those places. There's a lot of old history from hundreds of years ago, and it's fun to explore those. They have the missions in San Antonio, but the one in Goliad, that's the press. So there are some 310-year-old rock walls out there, and the big mission there. A lot of cool Texas history. And I'm like you, I'm a big fan of it. It's just there's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, Philip had come in and asked, how long is your run streak now?
Um, 10 years and 3 months, maybe 3,800 days.
Wow. So, what does that mean, run streak? Could you elaborate?
Yes. When I got in touch with those people from Mainly Marathons and 50 States Club, I said they were keeping totals. So I started keeping how many miles I've run, how many days in a row, how many paces, and different things. Just a little psychotic, but I love the numbers. I'm probably I'm 89,000 miles, 89,200, and I'll go to at least 100,000 for sure. As far as days in a row, maybe 3,800. And back during COVID, I had more time, so I began to run a little further. This will sound short, y'all. My minimum for a run is 1 mile a day. But back during COVID, I began running 5K a day. So still just 3.1. But I have 1,255 days, 5K a day, without taking a day off.
Wow.
I say that there are still some super slow days that I'll go for a 12-minute mile. I've been working for 13 hours. You go and you make yourself do it, and then that way you get a good night's sleep and go again tomorrow when you feel better.
Have you ever had a day to where you felt like you were busy all day and you really just didn't have time, and then you
Oh,
felt the burden of going to do it and you just went and did it anyways? Did you have a lot of those?
I've had
Yeah.
dozens, hundreds. I was running in April of 2021, working urgent care, and we were seeing dozens of COVID patients every day. And I was beginning to think I was immune to it. Had not gotten COVID in 13 months since I got cocky. I'm wearing my mask loose. But if I'm going to catch COVID, I'm going to do it now and not when I'm 80. And I'm doing, I guess, staying healthy until, and I wrote this down, April 26th, 2021, uh, 13-minute miles, no energy, couldn't go, had to walk it in, having lunch after that, and my taste and smell disappeared. So I had COVID. I
Mm.
got the 10-day vacation. I didn't tell you about this yet. I'd been dreaming of how I was going to go run all these counties because I didn't have any time to go do it. Here I had a 10-day vacation. I went and ran once to make sure I was going to have a blood clot, heart attack, and die there in town,
Yeah.
and it did okay. So I loaded up, went and ran 40 counties in 10 days because I had nothing else.
Yeah.
It, it,
That's
Once I could drive, I drove solo and go run like a bagel and have a cup of coffee and go one more and go one more and go one more. And yeah, Chris, and some days I got 15 or 20 miles for the day because I just run all day basically. I saw the Chris had a comment in there. Yes, you are correct.
yeah. Well, that's very inspiring, man, that you, even when you were sick, even on days you were busy, you still got your 5K in for over 10 years. That's pretty astounding, man. Philip had linked your Strava
Oh,
in the comment section, and he said so impressive, which it is, man. I mean, 1994 F-150s only go about 100,000, so The fact that you're gonna put it you got 90,000 on your body right now is pretty impressive, man.
That's the
Most
beauty.
cars have that in their lifetime, so
The human body can regenerate, though. It's just a great thing.
yeah.
You guys are ultra runners, so you know you can strengthen it. You can toughen it up. You can make it withstand a lot more than it used to. And I've seen you go. I've seen you guys go. You impress me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that you're absolutely right when you say that they can just regenerate. And what but even before ultra running, I found it really fascinating the fact that the body could just heal itself in
Yeah.
all reality. You know, you look at scabs when you get a cut, the skin grows back and it comes back and it heals itself. And muscles do the same thing. They rip and they tear when you use them a lot, and then they rebuild and they come back stronger. And
Yes.
it's
That's
very
exactly.
fascinating, very very fascinating. And one of the really interesting things is, like you said, you can train your body every day, and it recovers, and you can go run a 100-mile race, and then in a month or two be fully recovered, and like you never done it. So
Right. Good nutrition, good
yep.
rest, good hydration. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I even saw that this is kind of a side tangent, but I even saw that one of the things, like when it comes to cancer, one of the things that causes cancer to grow even more, even come into existence is stress. Stress
Oh,
can cause cancer. And I'm gonna say this, I'm not a medical professional at all, and this is something I saw on the internet. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was just really interesting to see how, like, if you mentally, if you don't take care of yourself mentally, it can have a lot of negative effects on your body. Whereas, if you do take care of yourself mentally, it's gonna make sure your body's good to go. You know what I mean? So,
if the mind leads, the body will follow.
yep,
It really is mind over matter, in
yeah,
a large part.
yeah. And I think the mind comes into that regeneration process, of being able to heal, and because the brain's a muscle. The brain is a muscle, and it's something that you work, and you work it every single day. And a lot of people got weak brains. Like, I got weak arms here. It's about the size of a pencil, but some people got weak brains, and it's not ever stressed or challenged enough, and it just gets weak and flimsy like my arms do. So it's an interesting subject, and well, you know better than me. I mean, you are a medical professional, so
It's you can strengthen your brain. You're correct. You can strengthen your immune system, arms, legs, muscles. I agree. Bones. You can keep your bones strong and prevent osteoporosis by staying active. Keep the muscles strong. I want to switch gears real quick. Philip is asking about where I'm going to run my 100,000th mile.
yeah, that your 100,000th mile. I bet that will be a celebration. Tell us, where will you run that 100,000th mile?
Good question. Texas? I don't know. I'm probably still 5 or 6 years away from that. Let me back up a step. There's a streak running association, and I think it's runeveryday.com. A lady from this area ran about 11.1 years, the longest streak in Panhandle history. So that's in my sights right now. She had 3,986 days, and I'm maybe 200 days behind her. I'm going to hit that the week of my birthday this year, and I want to try to invite. I will invite her. She's to come with and run with me and run with us and hit that 39,987 day, and then 4,000 days, and just keep rolling because you have to keep going, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that'll be a special moment to hit your 100,000th mile, because I mean, it's pretty unheard of, for someone to run that many miles in a lifetime and then also keep track of it. So
That's the deal. Is I I got in touch with some people that were pretty diligent about keeping it written down. I've been keeping runner's logs since 1983, and I still do it pencil and paper because I have 38 years of them stacked up. But I could go back in total, and that made it useful.
Yeah, you need to publish your stuff, like your notes and your. I feel like it'd be interesting. It'd be kind of just a neat little item, I think, for people if you were to publish some of that stuff, because I'm sure there's a couple of people out there that might find it interesting if you were to compile it all and then put it out there, which with AI today and stuff, I'm sure that would not be difficult. You could probably scan it, take pictures of it or something.
I've gone back here and there, and I'll pull out that workout from 1986, and I shouldn't do that because it's pitiful now. My race pace now is my old cool down pace on a bad day. But you do what you can. You keep rocking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're one of the most wise and longest people who have ran for a big majority of their life. You're probably one of the wisest runners I've ever met, and I mean
Thank
that,
you.
Mike.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate
it's been really awesome getting to talk to you and get to hear your story and know you a little bit. I wish we could go longer, but my we got a time limit with how long we can do these things. So,
it. It's been
but
fun. I
yeah,
would I would love to do it again. Maybe discuss a different topic because it wasn't nearly as stressful as I was fearing. I'm not comfortable in front of a camera, but it was easy talking to you, just like face to face, like friends. And thank you
yep.
for being gracious.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on. And something that'll be pretty neat for you is this episode's going to be on the internet for probably forever. So
Oh
people,
wow!
people are going to be able to listen to this. So one really thing I thought was pretty cool about this is someone can type in on the internet, running every county in Texas, and you're going to pop up like on the podcast because you're probably the only person that's been interviewed on a podcast that's done that. And there's not been that many people that have done it. So I think as our population grows and the sport grows, I think as all that grows and running becomes more popular, people are going to start taking on that challenge more often. I do think, and you're going to be one of the first kind of podcasts that people listen to about that thing. So it's pretty neat, man. Because I mean, it's been around for a while, but at least our sport of trail and ultra running's probably only really been around since like the 80s, 1980s, maybe a little bit before then, but yeah. So it'll be kind of a cool thing to look back on, and you'll be one of the what's the word, pioneers. One of the Yeah, I think the pioneers is the good word for it. So
Let's be trailblazers.
you'll be one of the trailblazers. So, but
You guys are the trail men, the trail runners. You guys impress me.
yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's nice just to be out in nature and get away. And I think that would be really neat is to do a trail in every county. But the thing is, there ain't a trail in every county. But you could probably make one, run out in some farmer's field with no fence or something. But
Gosh, there's alltrails.com, but a
yep,
lot of counties don't have those. You're right. You're right.
yeah, All Trails is a great app. It shows most of the trails, not all of them, but it shows most of them. So it's a good app for that. But yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you so much, Mike, for coming on. For anybody that's in the chat, thank y'all for tuning in and commenting and engaging with us. I enjoy that. I enjoy talking about some of y'all's thoughts. But yeah, thank you, Mike. Any last words, Mike, before we hop off?
Thank you for letting me come on. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me just talk and tell my stories.
Yeah.
There's so much more I would like to talk about. If you guys want to get a hold of me, it's go run Texas 325 at Gmail. just drop me a line and let's keep in touch. Or Facebook, I'm on Facebook under Go Run Texas 5.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy to connect with you, and obviously I'll stay connecting with you. I'll friend you. I'll make sure we're friends on Facebook and everything, and I'll be keeping up with you. And I would love to talk to you again sometime in the future and hear some more of your stories, some of your tales you got up your sleeves. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
well, thank you, Mike, and thank you everybody listening. Y'all have a good night. And before we hop off, I want to say I know we got 9 people on right now. The Backland, the last person standing race, registration opened just now. It opened 7 minutes ago. So if you want to come run the Backland, the last person standing race in December, now's the time to register. So, anywho, with that being said, thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody listening, and we'll see y'all next time on the